Mr. Tupac Shakur. He went around and said all of this stuff. And, a lot of stuff he said, he said, I might not be the one that do it, but I guarantee you I'm going to spark the mind that does it. So, he, says something that, sparked my mind. Maybe everything he said didn't spark my mind, but, something sparked my mind to see that, it's some truth, that you got to look at. And it falls back into this, most of the stuff that happen in communities, we always looking at, it's the government, and they get a lot of pressure for everything that everybody do, and granted that they do make some bad choices here and there. Okay. But, that ain't to go to say you can't blame the president, for everything that's going on in the communities. You can't blame him for everything that messed up because the leadership messed up. And these churches, don't nobody want to pinpoint the churches. Everybody got a story on the administration and how people are making mistakes and stuff. Granted that people do, but man, somebody got to be courageous enough and to correct some things, So I just believe personally, you need people for a season, regardless to what their history is and what they believe in, to take a step. If you ain't gonna protect and serve, let somebody else take the initiative and do it. And at least try to tell people that, somebody that's bold to say, hey, look, I think y'all need to do this, that, and the other, point blank, regardless to what that person racial preference may be. Sometimes you got to use people, to get things in order, because other people can't do it for some reason or another. I hate to say it, but a lot of stuff did not change in the last administration. As a matter of fact, things was a little difficult in the last administration. How they blame, first of all, I'm still talking about protecting and serving. They blame the NRA organization, but then on TV, Pastor Charles Williams, the leader of the NANA, he, made a statement on television, and another member of the NRA was there, and he pretty much told the guy that, hey, I think everybody should have this NRA card. But at the same time, and the funny part, the guy that was on the television was the same, he was an African American. And so he addressed it, the pastor, and was like, man, look, what made him change this conversation? He was like, man, you taking money, you doing this, that, and other. And by him saying that, he switched it and was like, yeah, I think everybody need the NRA carry guard program. But, and I'm not saying that to bash the brother, and everything, but it's time out for protesting after somebody get killed, and then when somebody else got to do it and they make mistakes and they killing people, then we want to have an issue. We want to say it's police brutality. Police brutality would have never happened if y'all would have opened up the house of God and y'all got to doing it. These people some of them, they might not be mentally stable to do law enforcement and stuff like that. But I think the leaders of these big facilities that get all these members, they should be addressed, because first and foremost, they have a connection with God, and many people go there, to get guidance and direction. And we looking at everything else to be the problem. But the truth of the fact of the matter of it all is I don't see everything as Democrats and Republicans, all the time, like it's their fault. It wasn't their fault that the commandments wasn't, they don't talk about that. They don't talk about the law of God and the judgments and the statutes of God. They don't really say nothing, but it's up to them to start speaking more. They close their mouth concerning stuff. When stuff need to be addressed, everybody is starting to look back at what the church is doing. They get all this money go there and they seek wise counsel and are supposed to get prayer then and direction and guidance. Then this is why everything goes chaotic. Everything is pretty much out of order. And then nobody want to say what the true fault. Don't nobody know what really going on. We put all the pressure on the government shutdown. But when is it that we gonna get a church shut down? Well, the church is already shut down. The church shut down even on days when it ain't supposed to be shut down. Truthful testimony. It's a sad day because some of these places only open one day a week. At that, one day a week, but then you trying to get grant money to say that you helping people, and people really having a tough time, and then they get stuck in a way that they don't know how to cope with what they feeling. And then the first thing the church say, let's take them to the mental facility. No, why do people got to go to the mental facility? And because then you go there and you get sick and you about to die. Then what happened? I thought it was supposed to be prayer. I thought when you went to the house of God that they lay hands on the sick and the sick was supposed to recover. You ain't supposed to send people outside the way and hold yourself not guilty. See, people hold themselves not guilty like, we had no parts of this. So we in a place where we untouchable. Now, nobody gonna do really look into the depths of this, but we can show everybody else and what they doing, but we ain't gonna really look in detail about what needs to be put on to the surface. And what's that there's drama. There's a lot of drama that we ain't looking at, really. We're not really looking at what is going on. And in this day, if Psalms 82 say, arise, O God, and judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. And a person that know that, do something contrary than that, then the whole world that went to seek them go start doing something different, especially if a person didn't understand that, so that person don't know how to operate or do anything different. So my thing is this, and people, people got their faults and their shortcomings, and all have fallen and short of the glory. So ain't no greater sin than the next. But we got to go to the root cause to some of these things that transpire in life, and really look at it for what it is. And we see we ain't had no solution for the longest. We see the problem is all our day. When you see mass killings at churches and stuff like that, it just go right under the table and don't really be looked at in detail. They don't really, get investigated, because people be like, well, that's an holy symbol. Well, truthfully, everything in there ain't holy, especially if the door's closed. Ain't nothing holy about that. There's nothing holy about the door is closed and people need miracles, and people, writing on themselves, and needing guidance. They need guidance, and you supposed to pray for folks, and then you talk about them and bash them when they try to get help. I talked to a pastor and I asked him, I say, man, why is it that you still needing help in this area, but that you can help people? Now he started telling me about all the people's faults. I say, okay, I know they got faults, but how you gonna be in a position to judge them, but you ain't helping them? The first thing he told me they was doing, oh, they had a problem doing this, doing that, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, everybody got issues that they dealing with, but how do you expect them to cope with what they going through? When they going through things, if you take away prayer, man, God got to give them something. They got to have something to deal with their pain. And to this day, people losing their rabid minds because they can't get connected to God. They don't know where to look at. They really trust in God, but they losing faith because they heard the word, but then they lost the word because they don't really feel the love. They don't feel the love, of God through the people who speak it. And so it's a painful thing, because I personally know that a lot of people, I've seen it, I can bear witness to it. I went to a person and I addressed it to him, and I said, hey, brother, try to go to him and say what it was. Now, he was a leader. He had a church and everything. And I even told him, I was like, hey, you got members leaving. He's like, oh, yeah, I don't see that happening. And it happened. Because I told him, some of these people think because they older that they know the way. But the truth of the fact of the matter, they really dumb, flat out. They just dumb, and they need somebody to tell them, man, you dumb. First of all, if you had the right heart, you will open the house of God up, and you would help people. You would help them, instead of trying to dictate and bash people and then hold your